welcome to Let's Play Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, Episode 4. And where for this segment we are now going to be, I believe, at the halfway point of this championship, as of which, after 3 races, I now hold a 1-point cushion over Bullet in the red Lamborghini Countach. So, our next circuit is Rocky Pass, and well, since I'm choosing to not use the same car for each of these races, I'm obviously going to change again. I don't think I've unlocked any cars yet. And no, I have not. So, I think for the 4th race, I think I'm going to use the Corvette again. And as for the colour, well, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, this thing actually looks okay in silver. So, driving the Corvette again for Rocky Pass. As of which, it is now time, of course, to reveal the track info for this.
Simplicity can be deceptive. This snowbound track, while not appearing overly intimidating, presents a challenge to even the most seasoned racers. The western route serves up conditions and curves that make continued high speeds difficult, but attainable. Cliffside driving on the northern face is very fast. Find your line and floor the pedal here to shave off some valuable time. Vertigo's in store, with big elevation changes on this narrow stretch and high-speed corners adding to this roller coaster experience. Nothing but skill will help you negotiate this tough series of switchbacks. Use finesse when braking and accelerating, and keep your cornering clean.
I know many of you would probably expect me to use the Ferrari again because it has the best overall speed, acceleration and handling. But the truth is, because I'm choosing to be diverse with each of the cars I'm using, I'm basically just going to be using these cars more or less twice or 3 times. So anyways, let's head over there. And see, of course, if I can manage to defeat this 28 wheeled pack that I'm competing against. And I also chose the Corvette because, well, there's a lot of corners. But oddly enough, because I'm the leader heading into this race, I of course am starting on the pole. So here we go. And I suspect the reason why I started in the pole position is because ultimately I am still the leader up to this point, mathematically by a single point. And I think Ice has now moved up into the 2nd position, it looks like, ahead of Bullet, and I think that's one of the Corvettes that's also into the forefront of this battle as well, it looks like. And I would say overall for this, I made a promising choice, judging by how many sweeping corners I'm having to go through here. So, of course I have set up the controls to my liking, because that's more or less what I tend to do, and I think after this, if I do manage to win this race, then ultimately that should be the halfway point of the tournament overall. Because I basically just need to keep finishing consistently ahead of both Ice and Bullet up to this point if I'm going to win this, and oddly enough up to this point I've actually not been challenged for the race lead up to this point, surprisingly. Although now that I've said that, these AI are indefinitely going to close in on me as a result of myself just basically opening my mouth and saying that. But again, it does surprise me on how I've not made any major mistakes up to this point. And furthermore, the leaders at the moment, they're basically nowhere. Oh wait, I think I just saw bullets. But at the moment, I'm actually managing to maintain my advantage. As like, I've actually not been challenged for the race lead yet in my Corvette. And in saying that, terror goes up my inside. Briefly. So, I'm actually a little surprised to see how I've been leading for this long. Well, I guess it's just because I've not made any major mistakes yet. But again, that could easily change. Okay, well, that was a minor mistake, but at least I can say it wasn't major. And I think it's
Lap 2.
more or less because I'm making the least amount of mistakes compared to these AI at the moment. Which, oddly enough, I personally think is the only reason why I'm staying out in front at the moment. But I think after this, if I can win the race, then it should be pretty much my second race victory in 4 races, as far as I know. And basically, after this, I'll just have to let consistency do the rest. But overall, I guess the only reason why I'm still leading this is because these AI are basically just continually tripping over themselves around this circuit. Meanwhile, I am basically just tiptoeing my way around the circuit and just trying not to cause a big one. I mean, I have of course had the big one happen to me as well before, but oddly enough, I think this might be the first race I succeed with. If I keep going the way I am, the way I'm currently going, this could be the first race. Yep, go to hell, fuckface. This could be the first race where I manage to become successful on my first attempt, which oddly enough has not happened up to this point because these AI have clearly been ahead of me in terms of overall speed, but oddly enough up to this point I've been limiting my mistakes considerably compared to these AI. And at the moment, I must say, I'm basically a silver bullet at the moment. And in saying that, Bullet now overtakes me. And it looks like he might take the lead, unless these guys crash. And Bullet is one of my main rivals in this championship, so I really cannot afford to bottle this too much. If he's ahead of me, I basically need to limit the damage as much as I can. As I officially slide my way up into first position once again. Probably because these AI are still in the continuation process of tripping over themselves, more or less. Meanwhile, I myself at the moment am tripping over myself the least compared to these AI because
That's your best lap, lap 3.
I'm making the least amount of mistakes around this circuit. As I now have a 2.8 second cushion over Bullet in the red Lamborghini, who is currently running in second position, and then I think it's Swerve who's running in third. Ice is now back up into the battle in the purple Ferrari, so this fight is not over by any means, it looks like. And it appears as though this probably will end up being a fight that goes all the way down to the wire. I still need to finish inside the top 3 if I'm going to succeed with this. And furthermore, yes, this still remains, of course, to be my first attempt of doing this, because for once I'm actually getting around a circuit where I've not had to restart just to correct my mistakes. So overall, I'm actually getting around this circuit pretty nicely, in my honest opinion. Especially considering, whilst these AI have been attempting to overtake me, they have not been successful in overtaking me. And I think the only reason why the AI didn't catch up to me is because they probably tripped up in the same area as myself, but... Yep, okay, now it's happened. Well, at least I can say the top 5 is all close to one another. Meanwhile, I am now back up into the... sorry, I've now dropped down to my correction to the 6th position, but overall, because the top 5 keeps changing up to this point, the leader has just been basically undecisive. So, that probably was a mistake I shouldn't have made, but fortunately, whilst they keep crashing, oddly enough, I've not officially caused the big one. Up to this point, I've not officially caused a big one up to this point. And since the lead just keeps changing hands over and over again, that's the only reason why I've managed to keep myself in contention for this long. And for once, I've actually survived these 2 consecutive hairpins.
It's the final lap!
Anyways, final lap, and I need to not make the same mistake I made previously. I mean, even though it was a very minimal mistake, the truth is, it was still a costly mistake compared to what the AI did, and already I now take the lead once again. So, taking the lead once again here at Rocky Pass, and of course, whoever is, of course, in the 2nd position now, it virtually remains undecided. It's now Tad who is in the 2nd position, and I think he's the one in the green Corvette, or the green Chevrolet, I should say, who is now in the 2nd position at the moment and holding on at the moment. Meanwhile, for me, okay, Bullet's now retaken 2nd. Never mind. Well, there's still a battle going on for 2nd, but the only thing I really need to do up to this point is just to limit my mistakes. I really cannot afford a big one, especially on the final lap, because Bullet is right on my ass once again. Well, looks like this one could be close. Nope, there goes nothing. Don't want to enter that right-hander with too much speed. And I actually avoid hitting the guardrail this time through that corner. And Ice is now up into the 2nd position now in the purple Ferrari. He does now maneuver himself up into the 2nd position. Meanwhile, I'm holding on to the lead, and at the moment it looks like I could very well win this, as long as I don't bin it. And then if I do bin it, then I would say, up to this point in the lap, all hope is probably gone. But I hope that doesn't happen. And so it's now Terra who takes over 2nd position, as of which, whilst these AI just keep tripping over one another and the positions keep changing, this of course is a good omen for me, because that will officially put me ahead of the leaders for the lead that will officially extend my interval even further to the leaders.
You've won the race!
So there we go. I win! And I just got belted by Terror. I guess you could say that was terrorism.
Congratulations! You've got a top 10 time for this track.
Pun intended. Yes. Also to quoting Alan Bestwick. But anyways, so 6th best overall time around this track, and ultimately, overall, all 3 cars have managed to win one race in this tournament, as which I get to win with the Corvette. So these are the overall stats, and 6th best overall lap time in terms of the 4-lap race around Rocky Pass. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, and wow, Bullet definitely had a bad race, because he ended up finishing 6th in the end of that. So Ice finished in 2nd, Swerve was 3rd ahead of Terror, Tad finished in 5th in the 2nd Chevrolet Corvette, followed by Bullet in the 2nd of the 2 Lamborghinis, Blazin was 7th in the 3rd Chevrolet, and Carcass has still not managed to break his last place finish jinx. As it currently stands, and yes, as you would have anticipated, I am of course recording a replay. Because I need the clickbait. And well, I don't think I'm going to record a full lap, because I think that'll just take too long, but I'm going to record part of this lap.
3,
just to
2,
see what there is
1,
for me to
go.
accomplish. Well, I guess for each of these races, the grid formation is basically decided on what the championship standings are. Yeah, let's try camera 4 this time, and see if we can get any reasonable shots of this silver bullet, since that is more or less what this thing is, a silver bullet. Also, furthermore, I would like to remind you, this is the first time I've actually managed to get through a race on my first attempt, which, ironically enough, I think makes a difference. That actually wasn't bad for a shot. So, furthermore, yes, that is the wind you can hear. Okay, I think that should do it for the clickbait section, because I think it'll just take too long for me to record a full lap. But anyways, that was Rocky Pass in the beginner tournament. And ultimately, as a result of surpassing Rocky Pass, we have now, I think, unlocked the Class B cars. So, the track we're heading to next is officially going to be Country Woods. Okay, that's the next track we're heading to. So with that, stay tuned for more NFS 3.